Welcome to this explainer. You know, when you look up at the night sky, it feels so vast, so empty, and perfectly silent. But the reality? Beneath that silence hides a web of anomalous data that just doesn't quite make sense. Today, we're going to methodically examine the universe's most perplexing mysteries. We're going to piece together the data as if we're detectives staring at a giant cosmic evidence board. From the deepest, darkest reaches of space, right down to our very own skies, we've encountered phenomena that literally defy conventional explanation. So let's dive right in.
First, I want you to consider for a moment the sheer, staggering scale of our reality. In the Milky Way galaxy alone, we're talking about an estimated 100 billion planets. And out of those, roughly 30 million sit perfectly in what we call Goldilocks zones, just the right distance from their local stars to maintain liquid water and potentially support life. Now, if even a microscopic fraction of these worlds birthed intelligent civilizations over the last 13 billion years, our galaxy should be absolutely bursting with signals, right? We should be deafened by the chatter of the cosmos. Yet, to quote physicist Enrico Fermi, where is everyone? Why does a universe teeming with such infinite potential remain so agonizingly, terrifyingly quiet?
To start unpacking that, let's open Chapter 1 of our investigation, the cosmic silence. The hard truth is, we are trapped inside a tiny, invisible bubble of our own making. Think about it. Humanity only invented the radio in the 1890s, and because electromagnetic signals can only travel at the speed of light, we are strictly bound by the laws of physics. So if we sent a signal out into the void in 1900, it would take 60 years to reach a hypothetical alien civilization 60 light years away, and then another 60 years for their response to make it back to us. In a galaxy that's 100,000 light years across, our little 60-year return trip bubble is practically microscopic. It means older signals from distant ancient worlds simply haven't reached us yet, or our incredibly faint signals haven't reached them. We're basically searching a massive, pitch-black ocean with a cheap pocket flashlight. But our cosmic evidence board isn't entirely blank. We actually have captured anomalies. These strange flickers in the dark that made astronomers literally stop in their tracks. Take 1977, for example. The famous WOW signal delivered a 72-second pulse of radio waves 30 times more powerful than the background chatter of the universe. Or fast forward to 2019, when the BLC-1 signal from Proxima Centauri showed a thin, narrow-band frequency with signal drift. Now, those are characteristics usually only created by deliberate technology. However, like any good detective, scientists have to methodically eliminate the impossible. Because we haven't seen these signals repeat, they are frustratingly filed away as dead ends. You know, undiscovered natural drift, maybe passing comets, or just rogue human satellite interference.
Well, let's move to our next anomaly, zooming in just a bit from the deep cosmos to Chapter 2, the interstellar visitor.
Meet Oumuamua. In October 2017, this tiny, irregularly shaped object, estimated to be about 1,000 meters long, completely baffled the world's leading physicists. First off, it lacked the typical dust and gas coma you'd normally expect to see from a comet. But the real shock came when it swung past our sun and suddenly accelerated away at 17 meters per second. Now, in the vacuum of space, an object only accelerates when it's actively pushed. Yet, Oumuamua lacked any visible outgassing tail. So the question haunting astronomers was pretty straightforward. What invisible force had its foot on the gas pedal? This brings us to two leading experts looking at the exact same cosmic crime scene, but drawing wildly different conclusions. On one side, you have Harvard professor Avi Loeb, who famously argued that Oumuamua could actually be a 0.3 millimeter thin piece of highly advanced alien technology. We're talking about a literal light sail designed to catch solar winds and coast between star systems. On the flip side, researchers Daryl Seligman and Jennifer Bergner proposed a radical natural explanation. They called it the dark comet hypothesis, a naturally occurring body made largely of water ice, but containing invisible pockets of hidden hydrogen. The mechanics of this dark comet idea are truly fascinating to walk through. Imagine deep space, cosmic radiation, slowly, steadily baking a block of water ice over millions of years. This agonizingly slow process alters the chemical structure, trapping tiny pockets of hydrogen gas deep within the ice. So when this ancient comet finally swings close to our sun, the sudden warmth causes the ice structure to rearrange and crack open. It releases that invisible hydrogen gas into the void, which acts exactly like a tiny, invisible thruster. This easily accounts for the strange acceleration while completely eliminating the need for an alien spacecraft. Nature, it turns out, might just have its own stealth technology.
Okay, let's shift our detective lens back out to the freezing, shadowy outer edges of our own solar system for Chapter 3, the Ghost Planet.
Despite staring into the vast, empty darkness of the outer solar system, astronomers Mike Brown and Konstantin Batygin aren't actually looking for light out there. They're looking at the math. And that math has left them 99.6% certain that an unseen world, a legitimate ninth planet, is silently lurking right now in the freezing void. To understand why they're so incredibly certain, we have to look at the gravitational clues left behind. Way out in the Kuiper Belt, far past Neptune, astronomers observed 14 distant celestial objects clumping together in a highly unusual synchronized way. In the chaotic sandbox of space, objects don't just naturally organize themselves like this by accident. This unnatural gravitational clumping practically guarantees a massive, unseen puppet master is pulling the strings. Based on the orbital mechanics, this ghost planet would have a mass roughly 5 times that of Earth on an incredibly slow 10,000-year orbit. That colossal distance explains perfectly why our telescopes haven't visually captured it yet. It's a massive missing piece of our own solar system's puzzle, just hiding right in our cosmic backyard.
Let's bring the investigation dramatically closer to home, breaching Earth's atmosphere for Chapter 4, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Now, for decades, the narrative surrounding anomalies in our own atmosphere was completely defined by a massive cultural stigma. It all started back in 1947 when businessman Kenneth Arnold reported seeing flying saucers, which kicked off this massive national obsession filled with sensationalism. By 1969, the U.S. government's Project Blue Book had dismissed almost all sightings, effectively burying the entire topic as science fiction. But the timeline shifted completely in 2004, leading ultimately to the 2021 congressional hearings. In just a matter of years, UFOs transitioned from a stigmatized punchline into a matter of rigorous, transparent, and highly funded military investigation. The evidence board was finally being taken seriously. The major turning point, and arguably the ultimate impossible clue, was a jaw-dropping encounter in 2004. During a routine Navy training exercise off the coast of Southern California, advanced radar started tracking anomalous aircraft. 2 Super Hornet jets were scrambled to investigate. 4 highly trained Navy pilots visually observed a white, tic-tac-shaped object just hovering above the water. Here's the crazy part. It had no wings, no rotors, and absolutely no visible exhaust or propulsion. Suddenly, it dropped from 80,000 to 20,000 feet at a blistering speed, without producing a sonic boom or an immense heat signature. After interacting with the jets, it shot away, traveling over 60 kilometers in under a minute. It utterly, completely defied our modern understanding of aerodynamics and physics. Because of undeniable multi-sensor encounters like the Nimitz, the U.S. military totally reversed its policy, actively encouraging pilots to formally report anomalous sightings. And I have to say, the influx of data is startling. Between 2004 and 2021, there were 144 official documented reports. By 2022, that total leaped to 510 tracked, unidentified anomalous objects. Some exhibited unheard-of acceleration, while others plunged seamlessly from the air right into the ocean without splashing or slowing down. The U.S. government now openly, officially admits they are tracking these objects, and they state plainly, they simply have no idea whose technology it is. Finally, let's land right on the surface of the Earth to investigate our last chapter, Earth's electric phantom. For hundreds of years, people have reported seeing floating orbs of light during thunderstorms, a phenomenon known as ball lightning. It sounds like pure folklore, right? In 1753, a glowing blue orb fatally struck a prominent professor in his St. Petersburg laboratory, which cemented the deadly reality of the myth. But perhaps the most terrifying account happened in 1963 on a commercial flight. A passenger reported a 20-centimeter glowing sphere drifting slowly and silently right down the center aisle of the cabin, floating past terrified passengers before just vanishing. For decades, scientists couldn't definitively prove it was real, but the breakthrough finally happened in 2012 in Lanzhou, China. Researchers had set up a spectrometer to measure regular lightning and accidentally captured a glowing ball of light on their sensors. The reading proved the orb contained vaporized silicon, iron, and calcium, literally dirt from the ground, seemingly vaporized into a self-contained floating plasma bubble. But how does a ball of vaporized dirt maintain its shape, and how on earth could it allegedly pass right through solid commercial airplane windows without shattering them? Well, scientists recently engineered a highly complex quantum particle in a lab near absolute zero. It's called a Schenker-Skyrmion. Picture a tangled, three-dimensional magnetic field that perfectly models how an electromagnetic bubble could maintain a stable, spherical shape while remaining completely squishable and permeable. This incredible synthetic modeling brings us one step closer to unmasking the phantom, showing how ball lightning might just be a bizarre, naturally occurring knot in the electromagnetic field.
So we've traversed the crushing expanse of cosmic silence. We've chased dark comets through the inner solar system, searched for massive ghost planets in the outer dark, tracked physics-defying aerial phenomena over our oceans, and captured glowing electric phantoms in our skies. And in every single instance, the scientific method demands we invoke Sherlock Holmes' legendary role for navigating the unknown. First, you must relentlessly eliminate every impossible or mundane explanation.
And that leaves us right here. As we continue to uncover new data, and as our observational technology sharpens, the evidence board of our universe is only going to get more complex and a lot more thrilling. After eliminating the impossible from all these anomalies, what do you believe is the truth? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you keep investigating.